You know that feeling, right? You're working on something, maybe a presentation, or just editing a photo on your phone. You try to resize an image, and all of a sudden, it just goes completely, horribly wrong. It's a feeling we have all been through. So you start with something that looks great, like this majestic tiger on the left. Everything looks normal, but then you drag a corner, change a number, and bam, you end up with its long, stretched-out cousin over here on the right. I mean, it's the same tiger, but it just looks, well, weird.
We've all done it. We've created these monstrosities, and usually we just hit the undo button and hope for the best. But have you ever stopped to think about what's actually going on? What's the hidden rule that we're accidentally breaking every single time?
Okay, let's get into it. We are going to solve what I'm calling the distorted tiger mystery. And, like any good mystery, the first clues are always hiding in plain sight.
All right, so here's our evidence. Take a look at these dimensions. Our original tiger, image A, the one that looks good, is 60 by 40. Now look at image B, our distorted one, it's 40 by 20. But then image C, which looks totally fine, is 30 by 20. There's something happening with these numbers, something that separates the images that look right from the ones that look wrong. The clue is definitely buried right here in this table.
So the real secret is how those numbers changed. To get from our good image A to the weird image B, somebody just subtracted 20 from both the width and the height. Simple subtraction. But to get from image A to the correct-looking image C, they divided both the width and height by the same number, 2. So the secret isn't adding or subtracting. It's all about multiplication and division. And that is the mathematical magic behind why some things look right and others just don't. But to really get a handle on it, we need to bring in a very specific tool. It is time to crack the ratio code. And that special tool is called a ratio. It's really just a simple way of comparing two things. For our tiger, it's the relationship between its width and its height. For every certain number of units wide, it's a certain number of units high. And that relationship, well, it's everything. Now, to really compare different ratios, we've got to get them into their simplest form. And don't worry, it's a super quick 3-step process. You just take your two numbers, find the biggest number that can divide evenly into both of them, that's the highest common factor, or HCF, and then you just divide both sides of your ratio by that number. Simple as that.
Okay, let's try it out on our good tiger. Image A. The ratio of its width to height is 60 to 40. So what's the biggest number that goes into both 60 and 40? It's 20. So we divide both sides by 20, and what do we get? A simplified ratio of 3 to 2.
Now let's do the same thing for our distorted tiger, image B. The ratio there is 40 to 20. The highest common factor is, again, 20. We divide both sides by 20, and we end up with a totally different ratio, 2 to 1. See the difference?
And there it is, mystery solved. If you go back and check all the images that looked right, A, C, and D, you'll find that their width-to-height ratios all simplify down to the exact same thing, 3 to 2. When different ratios share that same core relationship, we say they are in proportion. That's the whole secret. So we cracked the case of the distorted tiger. But this isn't just some abstract idea about pixels on a screen. This fundamental rule, this idea of proportion, is absolutely everywhere, shaping our world in ways you probably never even noticed.
Let's start in the kitchen. Just think about something as simple as making a perfect pitcher of lemonade. What's the secret? It's not just about having the right ingredients, it's about the balance between them.
So if your recipe says you need 10 spoonfuls of sugar for every 6 glasses of lemonade, that is your golden ratio. Now what if people show up and you suddenly need to make 18 glasses? You can't just guess how much sugar to add. To keep that perfect taste, you have to maintain the proportion. You tripled the glasses, so you've got to triple the sugar. And believe it or not, let's jump from the kitchen to a construction site. The principle is exactly the same. To make sure a wall is strong, builders have to maintain the right ratio of cement to bricks. It's proportion that keeps things from falling apart. But here's the fun part. Sometimes we break proportion on purpose. Your favorite coffee shop does this all day long. A regular coffee has a set ratio of coffee to milk. But when you ask for a stronger cup, what are they really doing? They're changing that ratio. More coffee, less milk. They are intentionally creating a new proportion to get a different result. This idea is so powerful, so fundamental, that for thousands of years, mathematicians and merchants have relied on a special technique to solve these exact kinds of problems.
It's a technique that's so powerful and intuitive, it almost feels like a mathematical superpower. It just makes solving for some unknown thing incredibly straightforward. It's called the Rule of Three, a method that was perfected in ancient India, and the logic behind it is just beautiful. If you know 3 parts of a proportional puzzle, you can always figure out the 4th. It's a foolproof way to find that missing piece.
Let's see how it works. Imagine a school cook knows that 120 students need 15 kilograms of rice for lunch, but one day, only 80 students show up. How much rice should they make? Well, using the rule of 3, you can quickly set up the proportion and find the answer, 10 kilograms. It's practical, it's powerful, and it ensures fairness and prevents waste.
So, from distorted tigers to ancient math, we've seen how this one big idea works, but let's just zoom out for a second and look at the big picture. Why does any of this really matter? Why is it important to learn to see the world proportionally?
When it comes down to it, understanding proportion is like learning a whole new language. It's the hidden grammar that connects a perfectly resized photo, a delicious recipe, and a sturdy building. It's this simple, scalable logic that brings consistency and harmony to a really complex world. And once you see it, you start seeing it everywhere.
And that actually brings me to one last thought. Just look at the device you're watching this on right now. Your phone, your tablet, your computer monitor, it wasn't designed by accident. Its screen has a very specific width-to-height ratio. Maybe it's 16:9, maybe something else. It was designed to be in proportion. So now that you know what to look for, what other hidden ratios can you spot in the world around you?